Hi, it's my birthday. I was going to do a song, but then I'm like, I like Kaycee's mod in Inscryption. I think it's also really cool. So let's just tier all the cards instead. I'm going to be tiering all the cards based on how useful they are in Kaycee's mod. So what this means is obviously no Act 2 cards, no Act 3 cards, none of that. I mean, obviously, like, I don't know, Worker Ant might be in Act 2, but like, I'm considering the version in Kaycee's mod. This also means like none of the scribes is the cards, and it's going to change a couple things based on ranking, because like nerfs given to some of the cards. Yeah. Anyways, let's begin. I mean, squirrels are just OP. If you don't have squirrels, you can't play the game. So, yeah, pretty easy S tier. By the way, this is S, A, B, C, D. Stoat. Stoat you get in the vanilla starting deck. It's really not that good. Like, I don't know, what's another 1/2 card? Because like Skink. The Skink is just better. You only spawn in the starting deck and you're trash. You're just 1/2. 1/3 was good for a 1-cost card. 1/2 really is not that good. That 1 health really makes a difference. So like, it's just not good. D tier. Like, if the only time it's useful is when you're using the starting deck. Like, really, you're not using it for the Stoat. Anyways, Adder. I mean, it has a niche. Like, it's honestly better to just put the sigil on something like a Mantis or a Mantis God. Yeah, so it's honestly just better for that. But like, it's alright out of that, but once again, it's usually just used for getting the sigil. But yeah. Alpha. I'm gonna put it in like lower end of sometimes useful. Because honestly, in Kaycee's mod, you don't really rely on these kinds of buffs to, buff your cards. Usually you rely on a fire, or like, just bifurcated strike or other sigils. You don't really rely on that. It's gonna be on the lower end, but because I'm ranking it so early, I can't like drag it over here. So yeah. Amoeba. Has a niche. It's a cheap 1/2 card, like 2 bones. As much as I'm not a fan of bone cards, mostly because of like, okay, for those who don't know, in Inscryption, Act 1 in Kaycee's mod, whenever you are dealt your starting hand, you will always have 1 squirrel, a card that costs bones, / a card that is 1 blood, and then 2 random cards. Outside of this, like, it's fine. Like, normally in Act 1, you could just, like, go with it, whatever. Like, in Kaycee's mod, especially when you have the stronger challenges on, you really need to have a consistent starting hand, and this kind of ruins it. So, I'm not really a fan of bone cards. But, I mean, this one's fine, I guess. I mean, it has a random sigil, so, you could pretty easily get a cheap Death Touch. Which I know I just talked crap on the Adder, but like, it's a 2 cost, it'll die immediately. This one at least has the potential to live a hit. I'm just gonna put it in a C tier. Because like, once again, it's alright, but there's no sigil that it really benefits from. Ant. This is sometimes useful. Like, it's pretty good if you're using an ant deck, obviously. You want to get more ants if you're doing an ant deck. Once ant decks aren't really that good in like the more difficult parts of it. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty alright. Once again, its power comes from the fact that you spam them. You have a bunch of them. But like, once again, having more cards leads to inconsistencies sometimes, so take that as you will. Ant Queen, same tier. Yep, look, right here, please. But like, same reasons, right? Like, it has 3 health. It gives you an ant, so, you know, you can play the ant. And if you have more, yeah, you play the ant queen. If you have more resources, ant. Yeah. So, like, once again, it's obviously really good in an ant deck build. Other than that, it's just like, no one really cares. No one really misses it. That's actually a great question. I mean, probably just has a niche. Yep, my mouse. But, like, it's sort of cheap. Like, 4 bones is, like, an alright cost. Probably gonna die in 1 hit, so, well, it is gonna die in 1 hit. What am I on about? Nope, I think just... Yeah. Fix. Alright, fine. Nope, stop. Anyways, now that I fixed that, I mean, it's a good 2 damage, and if you're, like, only going to, if you're using it as a kamikaze, and, like, if you get 4 bones on it, it just refunds you upon death. So, like, obviously I feel like there's better cards, but it's, like, that's fine. Beaver. Yeah, this one definitely goes and has a niche. Probably under that. The one niche I can say is, like, if you need to get, like, walls down, this gives you 2 walls and itself. Like, other than that, the beaver really isn't that good. I mean, you could put flying defense on it, so it pretty much creates 3 walls that can't be broken through, so more like 3 grand first. But it's really not that good. Honestly, you're probably better off with some other things, like just dealing damage. And it's a 2 cost, so it's not even like, oh, well, I'll just rely on drawing it in my starting hand. You're not guaranteed to. Beehive. This goes sometimes useful because the bees, specifically the beehive. Actually, let me put you above the ants because you're usually better than that. Nope, go here. There we go. So, when you put a bonus sigil on the bee, like, say, Undying, per se, any bee that spawns will have that sigil. Ant Queen, for some reason, does not have this. And I mean, I guess the reason is so, like, you can't put... What is it? The field mice... Where is it? Professional video editor, guys. Here. So you can't put this sigil on it, the duplication sigil. It's like... Also, yeah, I guess that's nerfed, but, like... It's probably so you can't just do something like that. You know, fair enough. But still, it does kind of suck. But you could do that with the bees. And there's a lot of good sigils you can put on the bees. You could put 3 blood, so you can pretty much get out your beefier cards. Undying is just... Well, Undying, it's just the best. And it's good on the beehive in general. What are the other good ones? There's also a bifurcated, or if you want to, trifurcated, because if you want to deal lots of flying damage in multiple lanes. Like, yeah, so there's quite a couple good sigils you could put on it. So, yeah, I think it goes here. And the bee is just gonna go there as well, because, you know, they're the same. You can't normally obtain this card, but the bees are still usually pretty good. But that's usually because you put the sigils on them. Anyways, Black Goat. Probably like right here. Like sometimes useful. Like, you could... Actually, no, wait. Probably, I'm gonna put on the lower end of very good, actually. Because, like, you could make decks where you just have a bunch of, like, bears or great whites. And just have this, and, like, give it Undying, or the cat sigil. 9 lives. And, like, you could build a deck around that. It's just, like, the starting deck it's in, so you get it from the beginning. It's like, it's got a mole, a moose buck. It's like, it's just, Like, you'd have to move the mole onto something, or just put that on the mole, which It's kind of like wasting resources, or wasting potential resources you could get instead. Like, it's gonna go on the lower end, but I think it's still pretty good. Bloodhound. I guess like right here. Sometimes useful. It's like, I never really get this card, mostly because I don't like the Guardian Sigil, because sometimes that just tends to get it killed. And also because it's just odd sometimes. Like, you could put the Porcupine Sigil on it, so it'll leap in front of attackers, and anything that attacks it takes damage, but like, if it's leaping in the way of danger, it only has 3 health. That's not a lot for a card that's probably gonna be eating like a lot of damage. And it's like, if you want to block something, you should just be able to see it coming. Like, it's, I mean, once again, it's a 2/3 card. It's pretty good. It's just like, because if it's throwing itself in the way of danger. Bullfrog. Well, I guess it's slightly better. But like, it's not really that good. More often, well, I guess I'll put it at the bottom of has a niche, because it at least has the niche of, oh, it can block flying creatures, which I guess not that many cards have the ability to do it. Like, there's Mole Man, and you know, not a lot of cards have that ability, but just like, it's just better to kill the creature than it is to just block it. Now sure, if it's like a Raven, you ain't gonna kill that thing in one hit, most likely, but sometimes it might just be better to take the damage until you can get something to kill, like a wolf. Or like an amalgam or something. It's really not that good. In fact, no, I'm gonna move back to Never Grab. It's honestly more just better to kill it outright. Although obviously it's better than Stoat, because A, it has a tribe at least, and B, has a sigil at least, which is better than the Stoat. I hate the Stoat. I want to make it on. I mean, I couldn't make it. I'm too lazy for that. Cat. It's gonna be at the same place as the goat, mostly because once again, you could center Dex around it. You could put the goat sigil on it, or Undying, and yeah, you can just rely on that to get out your strong creatures. Although I feel like the goat's better, because you could just give it either, and it's still pretty good. Whereas the cat, you have to. I mean, it's better to give it both, but like, the goat doesn't rely on it as much as the cat, I feel like. Cockroach. Very good. It's not even because of the roach itself, it's because of the Undying Sigil. Undying is really powerful. And the cockroach is usually pretty obtainable. Like, I feel like I've seen this one a lot more than other bone cards. So yeah, I feel like it's really good, because then, like, once again, it's not because the card itself is good, it's a 1/1 that costs 4 bones. That's not the best. But the ease of getting the Undying Sigil, I feel like is what makes it really good. So yeah, very good for you. You are very good. Very cool. Corpse Maggots. I'm gonna put it, like, above the Alpha, but below the Bloodhounds, and sometimes useful. That's mostly because if you're the person who plays like very hyper aggressively, this can kind of save you. Because like, no one's gonna pay 5 bones for a 1/2 creature. Because like, this sigil's relevant after you pay for its cost. But its ability to play itself upon a card's death can be kind of useful. And it also overrides the gold nugget mechanic of the Prospector. Like, because of that, I feel like it's better to be bumped up a tier. I would have put it in Has a Niche, but it's really good to just block the Prospector from 1 lane of gold. Because, like, the Prospector forces you to play very slowly. With a Corpse Maggots in hand, you can, like, play a bit more aggressively. Coyote. I don't like it. Like, it's, I mean, yes, obviously, like, it's good, but it's just in the same tier as the Bat. I just don't like it, because it's, honestly, I'm gonna put it here. Because, like, it's a bone card, so it's already bad. Like, it's a 2/1, which, like, sure, okay, fine, I guess. But, like, if you get it, there's not really a way to get rid of it outside of just outright deletion, which sometimes want to use other cards for, like, to delete them. Like, if you go with the Mantis God deck, you might want to get rid of a Ringworm. Or if it's, like, another card you got that you need to delete. Like, this it's not that good. It's not worth having in your deck most of the time. And, like, it's not even like you can go to the stones to transfer its sigil over. You can't. It has no sigil to transfer. So it's even worse. The only time this can really be good is if you, like, put 4 bones on, or, like, trifurcated. But trifurcated is better on so many other creatures. It's not worth putting on a coyote. Elk Fawn. I mean, I'm not a fan of moving cards either. But, like, it's fine, I guess. Like, put it here. It's good. It evolves into an elk, which is honestly not that bad. In fact, let me put the elk, like, here. Like, the elk, I feel like, is at the bottom of sometimes useful because, like, it's got 4 health. Sure, the moving kind of makes it awkward, but, like, it could take a wolf attack. It's honestly quite strong. Like, once again, moving kind of ruins it, but it's still not that bad. And I feel like Elk Fawn is just has a niche because it's a 1 cost. You can't really center the deck around the elk. I feel like it's way more difficult to do than the wolf. It's alright. I mean, they're about at the same point, it's just, you know, different tiers. Field Mouse. It's good in main game, but here, don't grab it. The sigil is not worth it. It's better to just have Undying. Like, it's a 2 cost that does, it's 2/2. So, like, it's worse off than the wolf. And the sigil just isn't good to make up for it. It's not even good on, like, most other creatures. Like, the only time I could see it being useful is on an ant. And even then, Ant Queen exists. You can get totems that just... If you could get the ant totem, every time you play an ant, you get an ant. You don't need this. Glitched card is also pretty much in the same area. Actually, hold on. You're probably... No, I'll put you above the coyote just because you have it. In fact, let me put you behind that. Glitched card. Right here. Never grab. Just don't. It's random. And it's like, it's pretty much always a common card. And usually it's a cheap one, which is fine if you're building a cheap deck. But, like, the fact it's random isn't that reliable. Usually decks rely on consistency. This is the complete opposite. Great White. I would say, probably above Elk. Actually, above you, I'd say. It's pretty much the bear, but it swims. It's also got a nice little niche in the fact that it has 2 health. Now, normally it's like, well, health doesn't really matter on swimming creatures. That is true most of the time. If, like, say, you hit a porcupine. I'm losing my ability to speak English. The porcupine will deal 1 damage, so if the porcupine has flying defense on it, anything that hits it, like, that's pretty much just a counter to Kingfisher. Which is right here. So yeah, they can deal with it. But a shark has 2 health, so that's enough to take a porcupine hit. So, you know, it's got that little niche going for it as well, so I think it just... Like, these 3 are pretty much interchangeable, but I feel like this pretty much puts it in that tier. Bear. I would say probably below Elk. It's good, obviously 4/6 for 3. I mean, that's pretty nice. But, like, once again, it's just a beat stick. You can't rely on drawing it. Once again, it's fine. It's good. It's sometimes useful, especially if you can get trifurcated on it. But once again, I feel like there are other cards that are sometimes worth getting. Kingfisher. Top of sometimes useful. Why? Once again, because the only thing I could really counter it is something with flying defense and porcupine, which is an odd combo of cards to have. So, it's pretty uncounterable. Now, can you build a deck around it? It's kind of difficult to, but there is a deck that starts you with them, so if you can get that, or if you start with the Mantis deck and you happen to get this, just boost its attack, and it's honestly pretty good. Like, it can't take damage, so you never have to worry about its health. But yeah, Magpie, always grab. Searching is powerful. You put this on something that could get your hand turn 1, or like you could put this on a black goat. You could always get a really powerful card. Searching is just powerful, especially in this game. I took like a 2-hour break between recording this and the last part. Anyways, moving on. Mantis. I mean, Bifurcated Strike's pretty good. I'd probably put it above the bees. In the B tier, ha ha ha. Anyways, like, Bifurcated Strike is good, obviously, because it attacks twice. You know, double damage is pretty good. Yeah, honestly, there's not much to explain on that. It's just really good to have on other cards. Alright, the tentacle cards. Mirror Tentacle. I mean, it has a niche. Like, because you're saying, like, yeah, it's 1 cost, but it relies on the card in front of it to even have attack power. So when it kills it, it's just going to do nothing. The only way for it to really benefit from it is you put flying on it. And even then, it's honestly not that good. Honestly, I'd probably say it's worse than Beaver. Card Tentacle. This one, on the other hand, is, pretty useful. Like, if you're going a build where you just get more cards in your hand, this is, like, really good. Because all you really need is 5 cards in your hand, and then you could pretty much insta-kill if you have turn 1. Or if you could get Bifurcated Strike or Trifurcated on it, you'd need even less cards. And Bell, I don't know. I think it's just worse than Mirror, because first of all, it's 2 costs, so it's not even reliable you ever getting it, but like, you have to wait for it to become stronger. It can't become stronger while on the field. So you gotta sit there and wait. So, yeah, I don't really think it's that good. The other two go and have an niche. Gamol. Probably worse. Actually, let me change a couple things. Let's do that. I don't think the mole is just Like, if you need a stall card for some reason, sure, whatever. But, you know, it's just like, sure, it's the only card that has Burrow other than Mole Man. It's just, once again, it's still just Moose Buck. Yeah, it's probably gonna go, like, where above Elk but under Bear. Like, it has more health and 1 less attack than the Bear, but I just don't like I would put it higher because, like, having the more health more often than not will be more useful than that 1 attack will, which is funny considering Inscryption is about killing things, not blocking things, ironically. But a Moosebuck is honestly good if you want an offensive and defensive card. Like, sure, Bear is good, but, like, well, I mean, I guess I put Bear higher. I mean, these two are honestly interchangeable. Like, they're both good, they just have their flaws. This one has slightly less health and is more susceptible to things like adders. This one has more health but less damage and moves around, so it can be an inconvenience. Honestly, which you pick out of these two is always just up to you. A possum. I mean, under Amoeba and above Alclon, and has a niche. You can't get rid of it, so when you draw it, that's pretty much it. But it is 2 bones, so it's at least easy to play. And yeah, it's just easier to play. So if you need like a quick wall, but you don't have a squirrel, possum, I guess, but you know, there's probably better cards for that. Porcupine. Undermullen sometimes use it. Once again, if you could get flying defense on it, it's really good at countering kingfishers. Considering there's pretty much nothing that can actually even hurt them. So, yeah. I would put, like, but other than that, it's like, kinda most other cards can avoid it. And, I mean, it's good for counterpicking early game Mantis Gods, like if the enemy has them, but still. That's for them, not you. No, Pronghorn. Yeah, like here. So it has bifurcated. You probably can't tell in the image, but you should probably know if you're watching this. Haha. Like it's a 2-cost that deals 2 damage and has 3 health. But if you have a Stinky Sigil on it, it just does nothing. And that's it. It moves after, but still, it's not that good. Like, it's very susceptible to just being screwed over. And it's also moving, which also screws it over more. Rat King. At the top of Hazanish. It's really not good. It's a 2-cost card that'll die in 1 hit. The niche, though, is that the Bone Sigil can be really handy, as I said, on cards like the Cockroach, or any card that costs bones, so that when it dies you get a refund. So, yeah. Rattler. I hate you. I just despise Rattler. I don't know why. When I use it, it's always the worst card ever. It's a 6-bone card that dies immediately. Like, sure, it deals 3 damage, which is cool, but it's gonna die if anything hits it. Then when the enemy has it, it's always like such a pain in the rear end to fight because they kill all your cards instantly. I just hate you. In fact, you know what? I'm making a whole new tier for this guy. Yeah, here we go. Rattler goes in here. I just hate it all around. I hate fighting it and I hate using it. Both ends. It's just terrible. Anyways, moving on. Raven. I would say probably bottom. And once again, I'll rearrange these. Bottom of sometimes useful. It's a 2-cost that has 2 health. Yeah, 2 attack and 3 health. And also has flying. So it puts it on the Bloodhounds level. But I feel like flying is more useful than Guardian. Especially on Ravens. Because you can use them as a pseudo wall while you deal damage. Raven Egg, pretty much the same. It's lower though. You just can't make a build off of it. Let me rearrange this. Yeah. You can't really make a build out of a Raven Egg. You could give it trifurcated so that when the Raven spawns it deals 6 damage. But it's just, you can't exactly do much with it. It's not really a deck build card. Ringworm. Now this is going to seem weird, because in the context of Kaycee's mod, Ringworm is really good, so you can get the Fireman out of the way early. In fact, that's what makes the Mantis God deck so awesome, that you have a Ringworm and a Mantis God on start. I'm going to put it at the top of very good, and not an always grab. For the sole reason of, if you, like, let's say you do the Ringworm thing. Alright, the Campfire's men are dead. After that, Ringworms are just dead cards. They mean nothing. If you get one by chance, that it's just a dead card. It's a 0/1 and it costs blood. So it's just a dead card in your deck at that point. Obviously, its ability is still really good, but it's only good when you have one of them. After that, they become useless. So yeah, I'm just going to put it at the top of very good. River Otter. I'd probably put it above a Possum. Just because, like, I mean, it's not the Kingfisher, which has virtually no counter. It can get countered by a lot of things. Or by a lot of things, I mean just porcupine. But now the porcupine doesn't even need flying defense. It could just be a porcupine. If, like, there's a totem... I moved the mouse. If there is a totem on the, whatchamacallit, on, like, the all battles are totem battles, and it happens to be the Thorn Sigil... I don't call them by the normal names sometimes. I like to call them random names. Random detail I'm throwing in now, yeah. Like, that could most... Like, if it just has thorns, that's all it needs to counter River Otter. Kingfisher at least also needs flying defense, which is a rare combo. Just having Thorny Rebuke on a card isn't that rare. It happened once while I was fighting the Prospector, and the Bloodhound came out, and it had that because of the all boss totems. River Turtle. Yeah, never grab. The 6 health really isn't worth it. Like, it's 2 blood, yeah, but like it's only got 1 attack. I mean, obviously it's better than these two. In fact, if I had to pick between any of these to grab, I'd most likely grab the turtle. But like, still, it's just not worth grabbing most of the time. If you want a decent card that can tank a couple of attacks that cost 2 blood, I feel like an elk is just better for that. Skink. It has a niche. It's probably better than the tentacles. If you can get Undying on this, you can farm tails. But that's still pretty much it. The skunk also has a niche, but honestly, it's better than the bell, but worse than the mirror. It's just a 3-cost wall that lowers the enemy attack by 1, but it's still very susceptible to things like mantis gods, or just mantises in general. Any card with bifurcated strike, yeah, it's just an alright stall card. Sparrow, I would put it probably with Raven Egg. You could honestly kind of make a build out of this, considering it's pretty much just a pre-hatched sparrow, and it's 1 cost, but it's still gonna take a bit of work, so I don't put it pretty much at the bottom. Turkey Vulture. Don't. Sure, it's a 3/3. That's pretty good. It has flying. That's pretty good. 8 bones, though, is a lot. Like, I'll put it here, so, like, near the top of Never Grab, but still, it's just not worth it. You can play 2 coyotes and get more attack power than it. If you put 4 bones on it, sure, it gives you a half refund. I just don't think it's that good. Warren. I'm gonna put it, like, here with the Warren. Because Undying. If you put Undying on this, got some really good bunnies. I forgot what the word was. Like, I would put it above this, but the bees can actually attack. Wolf Cub. I'm gonna put you, like, here. I'm actually gonna rearrange you. I'm gonna put you there. I'm gonna do this. Actually, no. Put that back. You can kind of easily make a deck around it. Because it evolves into a 3/2, if you boost its attack once, and you manage to block the other thing with, like, I don't know, squirrel or anything at all, it'll have 4 attack, and the Wolf Cub would have had 2 attacks, so you could win after you stall a turn. And then obviously if you get bifurcated or tri-strike, then yeah, it's just a pretty easy win. 9 damage is a lot, and you being able to get it pretty easily is actually really handy. Like, I've even done this before a couple times. Before, you know, I just went with pure raw Mantis God. Yeah, I wonder where that's gonna be. Anyways, moving on. The wolf. I would put it below the bees. I guess obviously I said, like, it's good, but I feel like the cub evolving into the wolf is better than just playing wolf. Because you won't always start with this. This you will always start with, and the sigils will carry over. But yeah, wolves are still pretty good, I gotta say. Alright, now we're getting to the rare cards that aren't unique to Kaycee. Amalgam. pretty good. I mean, obviously most of the rare cards should be up here. The Amalgam, yeah, the Amalgam is everything. So it can always be affected by a totem, which is really handy. Like if you're not going for a particular deck and you want a totem, Amalgam could be any totem. Or it can be affected by any totem. So yeah. And it's a 3/3. That costs 2 blood, so that also makes it really good. I don't know how I'm pronouncing this, but I'm pronouncing it Uyaruli. I know it's not how you pronounce it, but I'm too lazy to pronounce it correctly. So yeah, that's because how Markiplier says it. So the Uyaruli, this isn't where I'm putting it. Actually, it might be. Well, not exactly where, but it's a 4-cost 7/7 card. Now it is a 7/7, which is powerful, but it's expensive. It only really works on a deck revolving around the goat, and even then you'll still need additional sacrifice materials. So I will put it above the Amiibo, which I just realized was a rare card and I ranked early. Look at me go, guys. Very professional here. It's a very good, like, if you can afford it, it is a very good brute force card. Especially if you can get an even bifurcated strike. Other than that, it's just like, eh. Like, it's good. It's just, eh. The DOS. It's gonna go at the bottom of Hazanish. It's not that, it's a 2, I think it's a 2. I don't play with the DOS, like, at all. I, like, never grab it. I'm pretty sure it's a 2-cost 2/2 card. And it's sort of like the Beaver, where it builds dams, but it creates chimes. They have 1 health, and when a creature hits the chime, the DOS will attack it. But the sigil only works if there's a DOS. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Regardless, I really don't think it's that good. It has a niche in the fact that during the final Leshy fight, like, Mantis Gods tend to attack, multiple spaces. Leshy likes to use lots of Mantises and Mantis Gods in the phase 1. So, if you put it in an area where, like, there's Mantises going to attack there, the DOS can pretty easily take care of them. But once the bells are gone, it's just a 2-cost 2/2 card. So I'm putting it at the bottom of Hazanish, which is a shame because this is a rare card. It shouldn't have to go here. Pupil. It's going at the top of Hazanish. That's funny. From bottom to top of Hazanish. And still not that good. Obviously, it evolves into the Pupa, and then it evolves into Mothman. Mothman is 7/7 and has flying. The only reason this is above it is A, because you could turn 1 get it, so if you could possibly build a deck around it, it works. And 2, giving it Undying, when you play it, or when it dies, it returns to your hand in the state it was in. And then you can play it in a different area if you need to. And additionally, this also applies to Mothman. So once it evolves into Mothman, it will be a 7/3 with flying and Undying. And when it dies, it just goes back to your hand as that 7/3 as a 1-cost. Uyaruli will always have 4-cost. And the 7 health sure ain't, the 7 health sure ain't worth the 4 blood cost. So, but like still, it's still hard to get working and it requires the use of an Undying Sigil. It takes way more setup. I love the card. It's a cool concept. It's the favorite card of one of my best friends. Still though, it's like, just, eh. Long Elk. I don't actually know. My opinion is always indifferent on this man. You know what? Here's what I'm gonna do. He goes in right here. I don't play this card, and I genuinely don't think he's that good. Why am I putting him at the top of Always Grab? Because I don't want to make another tier. And why would I make another tier? Because it created the it's not a meme, but like a joke between me and my best friend, Jeff the Mantis God. dodging death like he dodges taxes with practiced efficiency. Yeah, it's also funny because then the mantis god that he gave these sigils to literally dodged death the whole rest of the game. It never got hit. And it was hysterical. Because it also killed anything it hit. So, yeah, it's really good. And also, its ability where it moves and creates a vertebrae behind it is pretty neat. But to my knowledge, I haven't played this card enough, so I'll probably subtitle it in the video. But I don't believe the vertebrae it creates has the bonus sigils it's given. If it does, that's pretty good. If not, it would probably go in like somewhere in sometimes useful, probably like above the porcupine. But still, it's saying and always grab for the sole fact that it created the funniest card ever known to mankind, by me at least. Mole Man. That's going in above porcupine. Well, now it's full. Yippee! 3 rows! It's still good that a lot of cards have some use. Sure, there are some that are, like, not good. And sure, there's always a couple that'll be really good. But, like, it's good that most of them stay in around this area. It's good design. Mole Man is just the mole, but better. Like, it has 2 more health. And has flying defense as well. And if you enhance its health or give it Undying, you could pretty much use it a long time. But, like, obviously it's just a wall card, so can't put it too high on the list. It'll only last you so long. Pack Rat. I'm gonna put it at the bottom of sometimes useful. Because, being able to get items is cool. More often than not, the item turns out to be, like, a fan. Or something is... Like, in Kaycee's mod, after you complete the painting, sure, it has better chances to give you more items. And, like, the better ones, like the clock or the magnifying glass. But still, usually you want to rely on item spaces for that. And you don't want to have to pay 2 squirrels, or just 2 resources in general, just to be able to play a pack rat. Gek. It's a free 1/1. Now normally it's like, well, it's a 1/1. It can't be that good. I'm going to put it in very good. Probably still actually, wait, I forgot to place Amalgam. Amalgam goes like here. These 2 are interchangeable. They're like the same level. Gek is pretty much interchangeable with Cat. But honestly, I'd put it below just because it's a rare card, and that a normal card can do the same thing. But why is Gek here? Because it's a free resource. It's like Squirrel. Like, obviously, yeah, you can only have 1. But if you could start with it every game, and it's free, you can play it and still have time to play the Squirrel. So, if you do this and have Gek, you could build a deck around 2 blood cards. Like, if this is your only other card. Because I'm 90% sure this fills in the 1 blood or / bone cost card area. So yeah, you could pretty easily build a deck around that. Yeah. Mantis God. Huh. Wonder where this is going. It's not going in. I wonder where this is going. Yeah, this is... It's... Well, I guess... these 2 are interchangeable. Yes, I'm comparing squirrels and mantis gods. That's funny. I mean, obviously, you're at... I guess I can do that now. Yeah, he goes up there. So anyway, yeah, these 2 are interchangeable. Because this... Tri-Strike is just the best sigil in the game. Hands down. Like, Undying is close, but this is just the best. Better than Search. So you put this on any card and it triples its damage. That's a lot. And already it's a 1-cost card you could start with every game. 1 single attack boost, you play it down, and as long as there's no obstacles, you just win at the start of every battle. It's insane. So, of course, like, once again, as Luke Carter says, Mantis God, always pick Mantis God. He says that for a reason. It's really good. Anyways, Child 13. I'm gonna put it above the Raven Egg here. It has infinite sacrifices, but its mechanic of, like, it turns into a different creature that has 2 attack, 1 health, and flying. But then when you sacrifice it again, it goes back to default state, and it just loops. As much as I like to do math, I don't want to do math. I don't want to have to figure out how many sacrifices I'm gonna need. Yeah. Ouroboros. Alright, the final actual creature. Yes, I'm ranking the pelts. But the final creature that is not unique to Kaycee's mod. The Ouroboros. Normally, this card is an absolute behemoth. Because, you know, when it dies, it's strengthened forever. So, you know, like, you'll get it in Act 1, get it to, I don't know, like, level 5. I say level. Like, this is quote-unquote level 1. When it dies, it goes up to level 2. And then after that, it goes to, level 3, you know, each time it dies. And then you get it in Act 2. And then you can grind it on a couple fights, and it just carries you through the rest of the game. But here in Kaycee's mod, yep, it's going at the top of Never Grab. Actually, no, I'll be gentle. I'll put it at the lowest point of Hazanish. But if you can somehow get the black goat and give it Undying, yeah, you could pretty easily farm that. But still, you would have to then draw it and then get it up enough, which would also require some form of search engine, which isn't easy to do, to say the least. So yeah, I'm going to put it at the bottom of Hazanish. And yeah, the pelts. Okay, rabbit pelt. Worse than actually no. Like here. Hazanish slightly above the DOS. I say that because it's a free 1 health. So it's like it's all right. You know, you'll trade it for something. Like, yeah. Gold pelt. This is going way higher. This is going to go above the card but below Kingfisher. Now why is this going here? Simple. Potential to get the Mantis God. And it has 3 health. So, you know, that's always cool. But in the plot twist of the century that none of you are going to expect, Wolf Pelt, I'm going to put it above that. Now, obviously not in large numbers. But if you have just 1 or 2 Wolf Pelts, then if you have the potential of getting, like, I don't know, a bear with bifurcated strike, just immediately skips all the work. And that is powerful. Like with the gold pelt, you have to put it on something, assuming you even get one with a sigil. And usually with wolf pelts, one of the cards will at least be a 2 cost. So yeah, I think wolf pelts are just barely better than gold pelts. Tadpole. Don't. Honestly, I can't believe I'm saying this, but the Stoat is probably better than it. It's just a 1-turn delayed bullfrog. Oh yeah, also, I guess we should say, we're not getting into the Kaycee's mod specific cards. But yeah, it's just you could play it, but it's not going to do anything until the next turn. It's just not that good. Just don't even, the Stoat would be better than it. Yeah. Wolverine. Above the Mothman and Hazanish. Because that sigil the Bloodlust Sigil is really good. It's just really good. Like, giving cards increased attack on kill is really good, shockingly. Like, who could have guessed? Like, yeah, it's a bone card, but still, honestly, I'm gonna move it here above Pack Rat, and sometimes useful. Because, like, that sigil's actually a really good sigil. Yeah, that's pretty much the reason. The sigil's really good. Mud Turtle. I'm going to put it below the Ouroboros. The sigil's cool, but once it's hit, it just disappears. And, like, it's only better on weak cards, which you're not going to be running only weak cards. And then things you might want it to avoid, it just doesn't avoid. The only thing it can avoid reliably is Death Touch. Still, it's not really that good. Like, Ouroboros is better than it more often than not. Raccoon. That's going up. Jeez, why are all the Kaycee's mod cards down here? I haven't put any of them up here. I mean, like, put you in sometimes useful, but the three I've put are in Has a Niche, and I hate you. Kaycee, what are you doing? Yeah, its only niche is if you're running a bone deck. And it costs blood. That is dumb. So pretty much what it does is, in case anyone else, like, really doesn't know what it does, when enemy creatures die, you get a bone from that. So it's only even worth just running, to my knowledge, it's really only worth running one. Like, it's good, but once again, only in a bone deck. And then there's a chance, because it's a 1-blood, you won't even start with it. Especially, once again, actually, no, not even because it's 1-blood, because you're running a bone deck. Cuckoo. Okay, now we're actually getting into some pretty good cards. Cuckoo is going above Kingfisher.
Why?
Thank you for asking, person who is in the room to my right, where there is no door connecting and is sitting here listening to me. That is because, just like the Kingfisher, it has very little counterplay if you play it correctly. Because now you don't even have to, like, worry about, you know, actually, no, I'm gonna put it in, very good, under Gek. Because, you don't even have to worry about a Porcupine if you play it in a lane where there's nothing. Because there will always be an egg that spawns there. Now, obviously, there is the 10% chance that a Raven egg appears there instead. But still, 90% of the time, it is going to lock down that lane. And then that is it. You can't do anything. And that's really powerful. The ability to just lock lanes is really good. In fact, I'm gonna put it above Amalgam. Like, these two are probably interchangeable. No, not even. This is just really good. But, like, obviously, it's kind of hard to build a deck around them. But if you just build a deck where you have a bunch of these, then, yeah, it's pretty good. I don't even know how to pronounce the name. The lamb, I don't know how to pronounce its name. But basically, I'm gonna call it the Lammer, because that's the first part of its name. The Lammer is quite interesting. Its attack is based on how many bones you have. So this is an actual card you'd want in a bone deck, unlike you. And, like, you have 4 health, so that's also really good. But, like, still, it's expensive and relies on you having a lot of bones to deal any significant amount of damage. So, I'm going to put it above the Rat King, but under the Mothman. Mealworm. That's going to go... It's going to go below Amoeba. Actually, no. Below Opossum. And I'll fix the order of these after I place these other cards in. But why do I think this? That sigil is really handy. If you can put it on, like, the Black Goat, any card, like, assuming you're using this in, like, a sacrificial build, then you could just full buff this, or not even, full buff the goat, and then any stats it has will be transferred to another card. Like, it's not good by itself, but the sigil on another card is pretty alright. More often than not, once again, it's only in a sacrificial build. We're using the goat and, like, I don't know, like on a bear or something. So, flying ants. I'm thinking, like, I don't know. I think it's fitting that we put it with its fellow ants. Look, can't see the other ants here. It's an ant that can fly. Like, it has 1 health, but still, it can fly. That's really good. If you put it behind a tree, it just can't die. And you can, get more ants. And it's really good. Now, obviously, it still relies on an ant build to even be sort of useful. It's like, otherwise, a sparrow. Where did I put sparrow? I lost track. The sparrow would be better because of it having more health. Direwolf pup. Now this is where we get into the juicing stuff. Oh, the big boys. I will shut up now. Why do you watch my content? I'm going to put it below Wolverine, but above the pack rat and sometimes useful. It is very powerful because playing the direwolf is really expensive. So obviously this is a cheaper version of it. It also gives you a bone on the end of the turn, which doesn't really matter, but it's cool, I guess. But the issue is that it is a 2-cost card. Like, actually, no, it's gonna go like here. No, here. Has a niche. I don't know why I put it in sometimes useful. It's in has a niche. I mean, it's near the top, but still. It's a good card. But the problem is, it's hard to center a deck around it. Like, you have to make your deck pretty much a search engine to be able to get the card reliably on your first turn. Or even at all. And then you still need the resources to play it. Direwolf is pretty much in the same boat. I'm gonna put it under... Yeah. It's just gonna go behind the Direwolf pup. It's just because it's 3 cost. It's just the evolved version, but you have to pay a blood to skip a turn, and blah blah blah. Yeah. And I've explained already. I mean, the double strike sigil is cool. Actually, no. I'm gonna put it above Mothman because if you put that sigil on a Mantis God, and you get this on a Mantis God, merge the two, that gives that Mantis God 6 attacks. Giving it 1 more attack increases your damage output by 6. Which is a lot. But other than that, it's like, the card itself isn't that good, and it's pretty much the sigil. Hydra Egg. You can join the Rattler, and I hate you tier. So, the Hydra, I don't have the actual image pulled up, but for anyone that hasn't seen the Hydra, like me, and had to Google it, pretty much here's how it works. You need to have a bunch of cards in your deck. Each card has to have each health value from 1 to 5. And then, you need to have cards in your deck with powers from 1 to 5. Then you need to have one of every tribe. Sure, Amalgam counts as a wild card, but it can only count as one of them. It's just super painful to get. And to fit that, you're going to need a bunch of other 1-cost cards, most likely. Considering there's 0 3-cost cards that have 1 health. So you're going to need other cards. Making this card highly inconsistent. Now what does it do? When you meet all these conditions, it turns into a Hydra. It has 5 health, 1 attack, and it has the Tri-Sigil and the Bifurcated Strike Sigil. The problem is it's just too stinking inconvenient to get. Like, it is such a pain in the grass. Because I don't think anyone wants to build a ridiculously inconsistent deck that doesn't correlate with each other just to have the potential of a 1-turn kill. You could get the Mantis deck, buy a Mantis. Just go to the sacrificial stones, put them on the Mantis, and you've done the same thing without having to do insane deck building. It's not worth it. I hate you. The Kraken. It's got a niche. It's probably above you. It's like, what happens is it has waterborne, but it's a unique kind of waterborne. Because it swims, and then when it pops back out, it'll appear as one of the random tentacles. Actually, here's what I'll do then. I'll put it in the... Let's see. There's one of them. Where are the other ones? I'll just throw it in the middle. Just to make things fair. So it's gonna go like... I don't know, we'll put it... here. Mostly because it has a 1 in 3 chance to pull this thing out. But it won't have that many cards even then, so... If it pulls out Mirror, it just does nothing. If it pulls out Bell, it'll have 1 attack. It's just eh. So it'll go and has a niche. Pelt Lice. Don't. First of all, I'm going to ignore its hidden ability for the time. I will explain it. But let's look at its face value first. 4 blood. That is the cost of the Uyuruli. That is a lot. And it has 1/1 with just the double strike. That is terrible. Now, I mentioned it has a hidden ability. For those who don't know, Pelt Lice is automatically played regardless of where it is in your deck if you play down any of the pelts. This on paper is really good, because that means it's technically free. I disagree. You, more often than not, buy pelts to get rid of them. And guess what happens when you get the Pelt Lice? When you go to the trader to trade the pelt, the trader complains that your pelts have lice and will not take them in. Like, she'll give you teeth as if you had no pelts. And then tells you to go get fresh pelts. So this card prevents you from using the pelts you got. It is terrible. It is worse than the Tadpole and the Stoat. And I hate the Stoat. I hate you with a burning passion. Specifically because you were PO3 before. You don't even have the health of him anymore, lame-o. Hodog. Finally, a Kaycee's mod card. That goes in Always Grab. Finally, took long enough. Jeez. Why? Well, first of all, it has 5 health, which is already really good for a 2-cost card. But it only has 1 attack, and that's worse than the Rabbit Turtle. You put that thing in Never Grab. You give me his Bloodlust. Yeah, except this is a special Bloodlust. This Bloodlust is like the Ouroboros. It is permanent for the remainder of the run. So if you give it Bifurcated Strike or Tri-Strike, that baby's getting lots of power. Very quickly, it can escalate out of control. So yeah, now obviously you need a search engine to make it work, but yeah, it's still really good. I didn't even know at first this thing had the feature until I happened to watch a YouTube video a while back, and I'm like, oh my gosh, and then I started using it, I'm like, this is really good. Obviously Mantis God's still better, but still, this is really good, and honestly, more often than not, it's probably the best, well, second best. I mean, this is the only one left, so yeah, this is like one of the best. Second best. Now, obviously, that means this thing's the best. So, for people who have never even seen this before, say hello to the IG rack. I don't know if that's how you say it, but that is how I will pronounce it. The IG rack isn't free, despite what it looks like. And it has 4/1, and then it has the Sigil of Starvation. And now you're like, hold on, that's really good. It is. Now there is a catch to it though. Whenever you get it, it is disguised as a random card, but it'll have a question mark on it. So you'll always know which one it is. And then when you're in game, it will disguise as any of the cards in your deck. Now, if you build a deck with no duplicates, that means you can always tell which card this is. 'Cause, it'll obviously be one of the ones with a duplicate. So if you have, like, we'll just say a 4-card deck with Wolf, Orin, Flying Ant, and a Beehive, and IG Rack, if there's some reason 2 wolf cubs, or 2 wolves in your deck, suspicious. But yeah, so then you just need to play it, and it transforms into this thing. Also, a really fun fact, if it disguises as an ant, which is a really good card in ant decks, actually. If it disguises as an ant, it gains attack based on the ant stats it would have had. So if you had 2 ants and you played it, it would actually have 6 attack, which is really neat. I mean, obviously, it's like still really good regardless because of the sigil starvation, which just prevents it from being attacked. Period. So the only thing that can counter it is a porcupine. Like, literally the only card. Now, you can't get flying on it, unfortunately, because once again, it disguises as your cards at random. So it just won't work. But, yeah. So, it is the best Kaycee's Mod rare card in the game. And, yeah, that's all of them. Every single card ranked. Well, I guess I should reorganize them. Here's what we'll do. Let's just back down. I like the way this is sitting. Here's these 2 are the only places I think I need to change. Honestly, I'm looking at it actually, and I honestly think it's good. The only thing I'm changing around, I'll nudge that there. I'll nudge the wolf up actually, considering you can't get bees, you have to do something to get it. But yeah, honestly, these 2 are pretty much interchangeable. Swap these 2. Swap these 2. We'll swap these 2 as well. We'll just keep moving Wolverine up, bro, because that sigil's really good. Porcupine, I'm gonna move above the elk. Actually, above you. I'm actually gonna swap you 2 as well. And you 2. But, down here, I think I'm gonna keep everything the way it is, because I'm liking the way this is looking. Yeah, I think I'll swap you, but I think this is good. So, this is how I think every card is in Inscryption. Hey guys, what's up? Professional Idiot here. Here to tell you, I forgot to rank a few cards. Yeah, I know, how unforgivable of me, and how dare my mic quality be worse. But yeah, just gonna let you know. So, one of the cards I forgot to rank was Red Heart. It goes in the I hate you tier, because I hate it. It is the dumbest card, other than the egg, to be added to Kaycee's Mod, because it loses its attack immediately after it attacks, so it just is worthless. Yeah, so, yeah, if there's any other cards I somehow forgot, I will put them down in the comments on what I think they are. But yeah, I'm gonna let normal me go back to talking now, and, thank you for somehow deciding to listen all the way through. Alright, bye. The best card, not being you would be, in, sometimes useful, probably about probably above Moment. But, you created Jeff the Mantis God, so you gotta go in your own tier. Yeah, other than that, best card would be the Mantis God, and the worst card would be this stupid Hydra egg. You can't even obtain it anywhere else either. You have to get it in the starter deck, and that's just dumb. It's like asking to die. But yeah, I think these two are interchangeable in terms of how much I hate them. So yeah, and I'm curious about your opinions. Is there any card that you really like that I didn't like? Like, are you a raccoon enthusiast and got upsetty that I put it at the bottom of Has a Niche? Are you a person who really sees the potential in the coyote and is mad that I put it low tier? I just said that. Are you a person who doesn't like a card and wants to know more? Like, why did I put, I don't know, the amalgam in very good? Are you curious about that? I don't know, comment below. I will try to answer. I have a busy life. I've had to do multiple takes on this after all, but yeah, I will try my best to comment. And yeah, happy birthday me. And yeah, I will see you next time. Bye. Oh, and also, once again, special thanks to One Gloved for sending me footage, because my laptop is refusing to run OBS properly with Inscryption. I'm still trying to figure out how to troubleshoot that issue at the time of recording this, aka the 13th. I'll hopefully figure it out, but this, as it stands right now, is my current standing on which cards I think go where in a tier list. Yeah, with that being said, once again, thank you to One Gloved, and thank you for watching. I'm leaving now to go take a coffee break, but I don't actually drink coffee. Goodbye.